Pacing optimized for voice acting. Hey everyone. Over the last 2 episodes, we've dug deep and torn apart a century-old lie about the auroras. Those shimmering curtains above the poles aren't whipped up by solar wind. They're massive, clean electrical energy discharging outward from Earth's core. There's enough stored power here for humanity to draw freely for tens of thousands of years. Right after that, we uncovered the double black secret behind metamaterials. One single panel can render fighter jets invisible to radar, pull usable energy straight from the zero-point vacuum, and even be deployed high in the atmosphere as weather weapons to artificially trigger storms and floods. The playbook of capital always stays the same. Pour unlimited funding into anything that can wage war and turn profit. But civilian tech that lets ordinary people access free power and break free from energy monopolies? It gets shut down completely. Lots of you left comments asking the same question. If free energy technology has existed all along, does that mean the legendary anti-gravity flying saucers and interstellar travel are already developed too? The answer hits harder than you expect. Anti-gravity and free energy are twin technologies at their core. Master unlimited energy, and you inevitably build anti-gravity engines. Humanity jumps straight into an interstellar civilization. Precisely for that reason, capital locked anti-gravity research away alongside free energy inside top-secret labs. They'd rather trap humanity with primitive chemical rockets and gasoline cars than let this tech become widely available to everyone. Today we unpack it all in one video. I'll break down an original, logically consistent underlying anti-gravity principle you won't find anywhere online. We'll also discuss why scientific breakthroughs exploded in the 1950s and 1960s, with wave after wave of black tech emerging, then suddenly slammed on the brakes, leaving fundamental physics stagnant for half a century. It's not that human intelligence declined. A yoke of financial interests was clamped firmly around the neck of scientific research. Let's start with the core material. You won't find this framework in mainstream textbooks or top academic journals. Independent researchers built it by combining Tesla's ether theory, zero-point energy experiments, and geomagnetic observations. I call it the gravitational pressure differential cancellation principle. First, let's discard the fixed idea drilled into us from childhood. Textbooks teach that gravity arises when mass warps spacetime. That is a deliberately entrenched closed-loop framework. It describes gravitational phenomena, yet cannot explain gravity's true nature, and it certainly cannot guide you to build a real anti-gravity device. Gravity, in reality, is pressure exerted by vacuum zero-point energy, the ether spoken of in old texts, pushing inward toward Earth's core from all directions across space. We repeated this idea across our first 2 episodes. Space is not empty. It is filled with invisible zero-point energy quanta, vibrating constantly, pressing on all macroscopic matter from every angle. When you stand on Earth, zero-point energy pushes down from above and pushes upward from underneath you. Earth's but dense mass blocks part of the energy surging outward from the core. The downward pressure, therefore, exceeds the upward pressure, creating what we experience as gravity. Simply put, Earth is not pulling you down. An ocean of cosmic energy presses you against the ground. This framework lines up perfectly with our aurora and geomagnetic findings from episode 1. Deep inside Earth, enormous electric currents flow continuously, generating our geomagnetic field. Energy from the core discharges outward through polar channels to create auroras. This is core energy counteracting the inward squeeze of zero-point energy. Why do the poles show anomalous gravity readings and frequent auroral activity? They are Earth's main energy release vents, where the zero-point energy pressure differential is weakest across the planet. Once you grasp gravity's true nature, anti-gravity becomes surprisingly simple. You don't need to fight gravity. You only need to cancel out the zero-point energy pressure differential surrounding an object. How do you actually implement this? This is exactly where the military-grade metal materials we covered last time come in. Wind specially engineered negative index metal materials into a ring, resonant coil. Feed high-frequency pulsed current through it, and you can redirect the flow of zero-point energy around the craft. Bend the downward energy stream so it curves and flows around the target object, while adding an equal upward energy push. When upward and downward pressures balance, the object enters stable weightless levitation. Tilt the coil's deflection angle to direct energy backward, and you generate forward thrust. No fuel, no propellers, silent high-speed flight, instant acceleration, sharp right-angle turns, all possible. The craft sits inside an energy bubble with zero pressure difference, so inertia no longer acts on it. Many of you will catch the obvious next question. This must demand enormous power. Exactly. That is why anti-gravity and free energy are inseparable. Sustaining the anti-gravity field around a manned craft requires continuous massive high-frequency power. Gasoline and lithium batteries die quickly. Nuclear power is bulky and dangerous. Only the two infinite energy sources we've covered can supply endless zero-cost power, tapping Earth's internal geomagnetic energy or capturing vacuum zero-point energy using metamaterials. Without free energy, anti-gravity remains a lab curiosity that cannot scale. With free energy, anti-gravity becomes accessible civilian technology. Someone could build a flying saucer in their home garage. Back in the late 1990s, an independent researcher built a small prototype. A palm-sized metamaterial coil connected to a zero-point energy module levitated steadily in midair. Silent, no exhaust, precise vertical and horizontal control. His calculations showed scaling the unit to car size would enable manned flight with effectively zero ongoing energy cost, drawing power straight from the vacuum. That leads us to the big puzzle everyone asks. Why did human technology explode from the 1940s through the 1960s? Jet aircraft, nuclear fission, rockets, computers, anti-gravity prototypes, flying saucer experiments all emerged in clusters. Decades later, fundamental physics barely moves forward. All progress amounts to incremental upgrades on existing tech, thinner phones, faster cars. Our underlying energy and propulsion theories have not fundamentally changed in a century. The plain truth? Back then, financial power had not fully captured basic scientific research. After World War II, the global order was reshuffling. Oil and military-industrial conglomerates had not yet locked down control of academic discourse. Vast archives of Nazi-era black tech circulated outside official channels. Tesla's manuscripts and experimental notes passed between independent engineers. Private labs flourished. You did not need university grants or corporate approval. With ingenuity, you could build anti-gravity rigs and free energy devices in your garage. It was truly the golden age of independent inventors. One self-taught carpenter, barely literate, built an 8-foot magnetic anti-gravity rig in his backyard. When activated, an ionization glow wrapped the machine, and it lifted off before disappearing over the Pacific. Another researcher's mentors replicated zero-point generators in basements, producing more output than input. Even military programs were diverse. The Philadelphia experiment, Project Rainbow, wave after wave of anti-gravity test craft. Most classic UFO photos circulating online are not alien craft. They are military anti-gravity prototypes undergoing test flights. Academia was far less closed off back then. Journals would publish unconventional theories. Universities hired independent researchers. Ether, zero-point energy, and anti-gravity were not forbidden words. People truly believed humanity was on the verge of becoming an interstellar species. The turning point arrived between the late 1960s and early 1970s. Oil and military conglomerates realized the threat. If these technologies spread widely, who would buy petroleum? What would happen to their monopolies over power grids, aviation, and rail transport? A global academic crackdown began, a coordinated campaign that pushed anti-gravity and free energy research underground. First, standardize the official theoretical narrative. Elevate relativity into untouchable doctrine. Brand ether theory and zero-point gravity frameworks as pseudoscience. Remove related content from all mainstream textbooks. Ban relevant research tracks in university physics departments. Anyone pursuing these topics faced revoked credentials and mass public smearing. Second, cut funding. Government and foundation research grants only fund projects fitting the approved paradigm. Zero money reaches anti-gravity or free energy work. Private labs are either bought out and their technology shelved or shut down under various pretenses, with equipment seized and destroyed. Third, buy up every relevant patent. Any patent touching anti-gravity structures or zero-point generation is purchased at any cost, locked away forever, never released to the public. Fourth, control the narrative through media. Permanently link anti-gravity and free energy to pseudoscience, scam artists, and alien conspiracy culture. Train ordinary people to dismiss these subjects as absurd before they investigate. Within barely a decade, vibrant lines of research vanished from public view. The ceiling of fundamental physics was deliberately bolted shut by financial interests. Innovation shifted from foundational breakthroughs to squeezing marginal improvements out of established technology. Many still cannot grasp why powerful interests would suppress technological progress. The reason is straightforward. Widespread anti-gravity plus free energy would dismantle the entire power structure of modern civilization. Let's frame it using the Kardashev scale. Humanity currently sits around 0.7, not yet a full planetary civilization. Our central bottleneck is energy. Universal free energy plus anti-gravity would instantly push us to type 1. The whole social order would be rebuilt. Energy sector, oil, coal, and nuclear industries collapse instantly. All elites who hold power via energy monopolies lose their leverage overnight. Transportation, cars, trains, and conventional aircraft become obsolete. Anti-gravity craft ignore terrain, burn no fuel, with near-zero marginal cost. Cities evolve into layered vertical transit networks. Cross-continental travel takes minutes. The concept of location and property values collapses. Spaceflight, chemical rockets become museum relics. Anti-gravity ships travel easily between Earth and the Moon. Lunar and Martian bases become as feasible as building resorts. Space resource development loses its biggest barrier, prohibitive launch costs. Society-wide, energy poverty and transport scarcity vanish. Material abundance grows dramatically. Poverty and hunger become solvable problems. Human ambition shifts from surviving and earning money to exploring the cosmos. Can you see why entrenched power fears this? Their wealth, status, and control all rest on artificial scarcity. Scarce energy, scarce transport, scarce resources. Once scarcity disappears, their power disappears too. They would rather keep humanity trapped in endless competition at 0.7 than allow breakthroughs that destroy their dominance. Ironically, they never stopped developing the technology themselves. Military anti-gravity craft are already operational. Weather modification, stealth metamaterials, zero-point power supplies are standard classified tools. These advances are reserved for warfare, geopolitical control, and profit extraction. They will never be democratized for ordinary people. Just as we discussed with metamaterials earlier, they deploy the tech to build stealth jets and weather weapons to consolidate wealth. But civilian free energy applications get killed outright. This is humanity's greatest modern technological deception. We are not incapable of anti-gravity or free energy. Powerful actors actively prevent the world from accessing them. 50 years of stalled fundamental physics is not a limit of human intellect. It is a cage built by capital. Let's imagine what happens if that cage is removed and anti-gravity reaches ordinary households. You step into your personal flying craft each morning. No fuel, no charging stops. Enter coordinates, and you arrive at work in minutes. No traffic jams, no traffic lights, no fuel bills. On weekends, fly directly to mountains or coastlines. Crossing provinces or oceans becomes as easy as walking downstairs. Geographic disparities dissolve. Day trips to the moon, Mars tourism become mainstream. Ordinary people travel to space and see Earth from orbit. Humanity's perspective expands beyond this planet and out into the solar system. None of this is pure science fiction. Researchers touched these thresholds decades ago. The obstacle has never been physics. It is a wall of entrenched interests. You might be wondering, can regular people access this research today? Are independent researchers still carrying this work forward? In our next episode, we dive into practical blueprints, simplified anti-gravity prototype designs from that independent inventor. We discuss whether hobbyists can build small levitation rigs using off-the-shelf civilian components. We also expose declassified anti-gravity experiment archives from the 1950s and 1960s, showing exactly how far humanity had advanced during that golden era. If this episode shifted your worldview, hit like, save this video, and share it. Help more people discover the suppressed technological truth. Subscribe and join us next time as we continue uncovering censored anti-gravity black tech. See you then.